and school sports class. For some, the glory days. For others, a traumatic series of sweaty humiliations. But for some kids, things are actually about to get worse, with public schools charging extra fees to access PE.
PE class is now not just physical, but financial as well. With new research finding Sydney public schools, yes, public schools, are outsourcing their phys ed.
There's a lot of outsourcing, so there are a lot of external providers coming in to deliver lessons.
Almost 50% of New South Wales high schools surveyed were using external PE providers, while for primary schools, the figure was closer to 80%. With many concerned the so-called external providers might not be at the peak of their physical powers.
With the external providers coming in, we know nothing about them in terms of qualifications. They may not have any teacher qualification at all.
Meanwhile, schools are passing on the cost to parents, asked to pay $45 for a single term of PE classes or $80 for two. And for those kids who can't pay the price, 1/5 of schools said students were forced to sit on the sidelines and watch, missing out on more than just beep tests and burpees.
And it's the way to socialise, it stretches you, it helps you get resilient, and I think there's so much to be learnt from that.
A lot of it's to do with overall development and well-being, understanding diet, nutrition, exercise, skills, the social aspects of playing sport and doing physical activity.
Public school teachers on the ground confirming substitute sports teachers are more common than we think.
The school uses some off-campus sporting or gaming facilities that students can choose to pay extra for instead of free on-campus teacher-run activities.
A typical outsourced class would have one lesson a week for a term.
So in a world of screen time and childhood obesity, are our schools failing disadvantaged kids at the first hurdle?
And this is about how we can ensure that there is enough funding so that no child gets left out.
Very musical evening. With us is education expert Adam Voigt. Adam, why is this happening?
Evening, Georgie. It's probably a combination of factors. The first one is that schools are being sort of put a lot of pressure under to do a lot of things, but to focus on literacy and numeracy. So we're getting teachers who are a little nervous about giving up time to do that. We've also got the backdrop of a national teacher shortage crisis, and PE teachers are as thin on the ground as anyone in that regard. I think the next one is that we've got schools who are, teachers who are pretty nervous about getting out there and being confident enough to run a game of kickball with 25 kids. It feels a little bit like inviting yourself into Lord of the Flies sometimes. I think the last one, to be really honest, is pure terror. We're just petrified at the moment that anyone who's going to hurt either their feelings or a knee playing sport is going to result in parents coming down to the school and complaining or even litigation. So we're unfortunately playing it safe, and our kids are suffering for it.
Well, that's all well and good, and sure, PE might not be everyone's favourite class, but should we be really charging the kids for this?
Yeah, no, we absolutely should not. PE is not a second-class subject. It provides a really valuable service to us. Everything we know that we're frustrated about with kids these days, lacking in resilience, lacking in the ability to cooperate, being a bit like kind of pasty and lacking in perseverance and unwillingness to go outside and actually be motivated to do something, is helped by PE. The research tells us that all of the indicators towards even mental health and anxiety issues later in life are kids who are not outside, getting fresh air in their nostrils and actually enjoying each other's company face to face. You need hundreds of hours to get to that point. So basically these kids need to run.
I feel like a lot of the descriptions you gave in that answer were directly aimed at me, but that's fine. If you're someone who was not like me and you're a kid who wants to do PE, but, unfortunately your parents can't afford to pay these new fees, I mean, it feels like not including them is just increasing that disadvantage.
It is. It feels like you've got a little bit of unresolved dodgeball trauma there, Michael. We'll help you work through that a little later. But you're right. It's exactly what we know about these kids. We know that if you haven't got the money to pay for an outsourced PE lesson at school, you're likely to be the sort of kid whose parents can't pay for sport on the weekend, who can't pay for you to be involved in a dance class or a music class as well outside of school. And that, again, deprives these kids of this face-to-face, risky, adventurous opportunities to get excited about learning. We also know that if you're forced to sit on the sidelines because you're poor, it's actually a really strong driver. The shame and the embarrassment of that is a really strong driver. It can be out of school completely. So it puts them at risk of all sorts of future situations that we don't want them in, because education is the answer to them getting a productive life.
Adam, my 15-year-old self really wanted to participate in this, but she's actually got her period, so...
Those notes from home.
Yeah, I've got a note from my mum. But
We have them right here. We've got many. We've got many, Adam. Thank you very much for taking us through it. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Now, a spokesperson for the New South Wales Education Department did get in touch and said that schools occasionally engage third-party providers for physical activity and sports programs, but should not be charging parents to deliver the curriculum. Their full statement is on our website.